happy International Women's Day to you all. We're absolutely delighted to be joined today by three incredible female leaders, all from different industries that are here to share a bit of their stories, of their career journeys, any kind of troubles they've had along the way, some learnings, and hopefully to share a bit of wisdom with us all here as well. My name is Ruth. I'm one of the content producers here at Forefront Events. Suneetha, starting with you, would you like to introduce yourself and your career?
Sure. I'm Suneetha Bodduluri, Chief Technology Officer at Service New South Wales.
Jess Dawson, Head of AI Enablement at National Australia Bank.
Sanja, Petrovic, General Manager of Cybersecurity and Governance at Hub24.
To get started, what is one thing you'd love people to know about you beyond just your job title? So Sanja, will we stay with you?
Public speaking is probably not my forte. I'm going to say that. So this is out of my comfort zone completely.
I feel the exact same way, Jess.
I'm a fierce protector of my time. So I've got a lovely 4-year-old daughter. I love spending time with my friends, exploring new restaurants. I love moving my body intentionally at least 3 times a week. And I'm deeply passionate about my career. So all of that stuff takes time. So it's worth protecting your time. And I hope that this is a valuable use of your time today.
Of course.
Nice. I'm an empathetic person. Sometimes that tends to lead me into the troubles because I'm too easy on my team sometimes. So I tend to bite my tongue. Oh, okay. And then again, I do it.
Oh, I'd say they love that about you anyway. So what's one significant moment in your career that's shaped how you lead today? So Suneetha, will we stay with you?
Yeah, maybe it's a journey, I'll say, not one moment. For me, I started as a software engineer, so I was a technology person, was leading in this. Suddenly I moved into leadership roles. However, one thing that actually struck me is how important it is influencing skills and stakeholder management skills. At the same time, bringing everyone into the journey, that's where you really make the difference. Mm-hmm. And also, I always, because I started my career as an engineer, I always focused on the technology and technical solutions. One thing that made the difference is always thinking about people. People is the key to everything. Mm-hmm. As long as you bring everyone in there, you're good to go. Mm-hmm.
For me, I remember this moment still clear as day, as if it was yesterday. It was over 10 years ago now, but I'm sure all of you have probably been in a very similar situation. I don't know, put your hand up if you've ever stepped up into a role, but you haven't actually been formally promoted and you're kind of acting in it. It's a bit awkward. And of course, great experience, right? But what it taught me was the power of being authentic and not letting your people sit in ambiguity for too long. And that's something that I take into leadership now. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and you pour so much of your heart and soul into giving it your all. Thankfully for me, I was recognised by another leader who came in for about 12 weeks, and she made it her life's mission to right that wrong for me. But not only did she do all the right things, like fix the title, fix the salary, get back pay, she sat across the table from me and she had tears in her eyes. That was how deeply impacted she was by my story. And just that sheer moment of authenticity backed up by her behaviour was really moving for me. So now I take that forward in terms of how I interact with my people, being really authentic and transparent and actually doing what you say you're going to do.
Is there any kind of advice you give other, not even just female leaders in general, what they can do to kind of support that the way that mentor did for you?
I think don't be afraid to have the courage and conviction to do something if it's within your power. Because she was only going to be in that role, she had a really clear scope. It was only going to be 12 weeks. She had 50 other things on her agenda that were priorities. It would have been really easy for her to just kick that over the fence to the next person and not care about it. But because of how moved she was and that commitment that she made to me, she took that step. She displayed that courage and conviction. So if something's within your power and you can change something for someone else, you just never know the impact that it could have on that person. And here I am, years from that moment, still talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, I hope she knows that as well.
She does.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to probably touch upon both of those points. I also started in tech, service desk, to be quite clear, and it was at the back of really great mentors that my career had a massive shift, and within 3 years, 3 promotions, and then a move into state, and then that was kind of the starting point. But the one thing I did learn through my journey is that if you can tap into the purpose of why you are where you're at, and you can also tap into your team's purpose and their goals and their drivers, you'll ultimately lead really successful teams because you're able to influence them in the ways that that really suits them and their goals in life. So that's been a change for me.
These next three questions I think are really important. So how do you handle self-doubt when it shows up now, and maybe in comparison to how you dealt with that when your younger self?
I can go first because I went through that journey. When I became an architect long ago, first thing I needed to do was sit in front of a lot of audience and trying to explain that architecture in a simple words, because it's the converting that complex technical solution into a easy to digest one. And I was literally panicking and self-doubting myself. That was the starting position. One thing I've learned is if you start with the position of what are you saying, you know what you're saying, you understand what you're saying, that gives you a bit of a confidence in you. Once you have that confidence, it's about understanding who in the audience as well. So when you have that feeling of, I know what I'm doing, I know who they are, and I know how to communicate, it gives a lot more confidence on you. Always trust in yourself. There is no one out there who's better than you. That's how I start my life. Otherwise, I can't continue. So there's some good quality. We're not 100%, but we have a lot of good qualities in us. So start your day with that.
For me, I think prevention's better than the cure. So following on from what Suneetha said, you need to think about how to create the mental environment where you don't have the conditions for self-doubt to thrive. And I think so many young individuals, when they enter the workforce, want to do really great work, but you're constantly seeking external reassurance and external validation of, is this good? Have I done this right? And there's a time and place for that. You need to seek feedback on your work, but equally you also need to understand what your own value proposition is. So are you actually taking the time? And I recommend that you do this at least, twice a year if you can. Think about, what is the current value that I'm adding to my role? What's the current value that I'm adding to my organisation? Are there things that I'm doing that are actually valuable to the next position above me? And in fact, if my CEO was to jump into the lift with me and say, what's the value that you've added? What's your 30-second pitch that you would give them? All of that actually creates a vocabulary within yourself, this inner monologue in terms of how you speak to yourself, which is really important, because if you're constantly seeking external reassurance, you're not always going to get it. And if you don't get it, that's when you start to really ruminate on just, am I doing everything right? Everything's going wrong. So start to think about how you talk to yourself and what that value proposition is that you have, because no one else is going to be able to articulate your value better than you can.
Yeah, I really like how we've started off with, no self-doubt. But it's also recognising the fact that, self-doubt comes into play. That's what builds and grows you further, right? So it's okay to have self-doubt, but to your point, starting off with the strengths, this is what I bring to the table, this is what I'm good at, having that 30-second pitch as well, but also understanding what can I do for myself to elevate myself. So this is just out of experience. So when I was in my first role in service desk, it was for a superannuation administrator. And I thought, I know nothing about super, because we were talking about this earlier. They taught me everything about algebra. Taxes, super, got no idea at school. So I ended up doing a bit of a course on superannuation and understanding tax laws and implications and all of that. I understood that when I understood the business purpose, then I knew how to apply my skill set. And then, when we're looking at organisational goals that in the organisation, I know how I contribute to that goal. So when I do jump into the lift with my CEO, I can say, hey, listen, this is how I create value, and this is why this function exists within the business.
I think it is unfortunate that young females have this integral self-doubt that they just don't back themselves maybe as much as men do. So if we can get over that.
I absolutely echo. I have a son who's a man, I call it. He is so optimistic and he never doubts himself, and he questions me sometimes. I'm like, hang on, you're 17-year-old, you're so positive, and you're questioning me. There's it's that perception that they know everything, they are 100%. I'm not saying he's good or bad, but when it comes to women, what we think is we constantly evaluate ourselves. Are we 100% there? Are we 100% there? We want to be better at everything, and that better never stops for us.
And the 100% then reflects into jobs as well, because I found that females generally won't apply for that role because I don't tick every box.
Yes.
Whereas my male counterparts are, 2 out of 10, I can do this. And you know what? It's the confidence that gets them through.
Confidence,
so, I like to think that some of that male confidence has actually rubbed off on me over the years. So I now go 2 out of 10. Of course, I can do this.
That's what I was thinking about moderating the panel today. So look, same with you, Sanja. What's the most useful feedback you've ever received, even if it maybe stung a little bit?
Probably what I've just mentioned here is stepping out of that comfort zone and believing in yourself. And if it's 2 out of 10, apply. See how you go, right?
Amazing, Jess.
For me, and I mean, it still stings a little bit to this day, but it was walking out of a meeting and having someone say to me, like, the look on your face in that meeting was so funny. And I was quite struck by it because I was like, first, it's not my fault that I was born with an RBF, okay? And if you don't know what that means, ask the person next to you. 2, clearly it's time for some Botox if you can read my facial expressions. But 3, I think that it is unfortunate that women are probably more like, I've never heard this said to a man, but more likely to receive feedback on facial expressions generally. I don't know why that is. Maybe we're just more expressive. And it just made me really conscious, actually. And the reason why it was good feedback, though, was because I sort of learnt through that to filter out the noise. So to strip away the emotion of how I felt in that moment, because I then had to reflect on how I was showing up in meetings, and maybe I was just idly tuning out, but clearly there's still, a bit of an expression that maybe I was not impressed with what was happening, which probably wasn't the case, but that's just how it came across. But filter out the noise, strip out the emotion, and think about what the logical next step is. And maybe make a little bit more of a conscious effort to think about how I'm presenting myself when I'm, interacting with people. Things are never as bad as you feel like they are in the moment, though. Like, you can feel mortified, but really once you process that emotion, it's quite a simple thing to just try and smile at people.
I think it's also important to understand that we can't control what others perceive us to be.
Yeah.
So, you can take the good and the bad and think about kind of that next step rather than kind of, oh, I'm offended. It's so easy to be offended in this day and age, to be quite honest. But if you can, I think, remove that element and then use it constructively, then it's a good outcome overall.
Absolutely.
Mine was a bit of a sandwich feedback, I call it. It was from a previous CEO, I still remember, and I love that feedback. He said, you're too good, but you take on too much. He didn't say anything more, just think about it and come back to me. And when I thought about it, he's actually absolutely right. When I take on too much, I'm actually not fully focusing on what really matters. What drives the organization? What is the strategic purpose? Those things are a little bit diluted when I'm taking too much. But at the same time, when I'm taking too much, I'm not actually letting my team grow as well, because I'm constantly pushing too much onto them. I'm not giving time to them. And I'm not actually delegating too much to them as well. That means they're not growing in their roles. It's just those 2 words. He said, go back and reflect on it and come back to me. That made me think differently. From there onwards, every single time, and I think, okay, it may be a little bit too much, I always come back with a strategic no. That means I think about what are the options we have and what are the trade-offs I need to, if I want to take that on, these are the trade-offs. These are the options we have. Let's discuss and agree on before we make a call. And that means I'm stopping it at myself, and I'm stopping for my teams as well. And now I'm actually delegating a lot more to my teams, to the point, sometimes I ask my team to say, this is the consolidated budget. I know your learning budget, but I want you to manage this much amount. I'm here to help you, but figure out a way and go back and come back, kind of thing. So it's about delegating more than what it is. It's actually freeing me up to focus on, what can I do for next 6 months in services ourselves.
What skill has mattered more than technical ability as you've grown?
Yeah, I don't know if you can quite call it a skill, but I'll do my best to articulate it, so bear with me. It's the ability to really understand emotional regulation and whether you're coming from a place of reacting or processing what's happening around you. So again, this was a long time ago, but it still has stuck with me and was quite powerful to this day. It was in a meeting where there was an offensive comment made to a woman. It wasn't sexist, but it was just offensive. And she would have been well within her right to be upset or angry or stressed in terms of how she reacted. But what she did was a very dignified pause. And those 3 or 4 seconds of silence said more words than I could sit here and tell you in 3 or 4 minutes. The comment was just sort of left to hang out, and the person who said it was left to sit with what they had said. And then she said, I didn't particularly enjoy that comment, and then just kept on moving. That reaction, even though it would have been warranted for her to be angry, if she hadn't reacted how she reacted, the person who made the comment would have been able to walk out of the meeting and say she was overreacting, she was angry, what she was asking for was too much because of how she behaved. But she didn't give that person that satisfaction. So the ability to actually sit with what you're feeling, sometimes saying nothing is more powerful than saying anything at all, but equally understanding what are you feeling and why. Are you reacting from a place of emotion, or have you taken even just a very momentary pause to think and reflect about how you want to show up in that moment? And it's not an easy skill to learn.
It's unfortunate that it's a skill you have to learn, but yeah, silence often speaks a lot louder than words. Sanja, do you want to?
So it's interesting that you've said that, because in my head I was thinking listening, and the reason I thought that is, you can listen and you can actively listen, or you can be in a state where you're listening but you're preparing for the next question. Right? So, and that means you're not listening because you're waiting for the comeback, or I'm just waiting for you to finish so that I can say this, and it's like that's not the purpose of communication. So I think effective communication is really the key, but I also think that effective listening, and then once you're listening, that's when the pauses come in, that's when the reflection comes in naturally, and you're able to really communicate better, but also lead with example.
I think we're all focusing on one point, which is communication and communication and communication. For me, communication is a little bit different. For me, it's all about making sure every employee understand why they're there, what they're doing, why they're doing, how it's actually impacting every single person in New South Wales state. It's about communicating that and just translating an entire Service New South Wales vision into a dilutable, easy to understand, and still be able to connect technology to it.
We're going to go on to a bit of rapid fire questions now. So we'll start with Suneetha, go along the way, just a couple of word answers. So a career myth you no longer believe.
Rolls walks up to me. That was me until 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually I have to apply.
Would be lucky.
For me, it is that taking time out to go on parental leave will impact your career. It's just not true.
Same with me. It's the parental leave.
A phrase you wish women would stop saying about themselves.
I stopped it, but I'll say it. I always in the past said, I think it might be correct. This might be the right way to do. It's like self-doubting myself.
Yeah.
Like, no, I won't use that anymore.
Mine is not so much what women say about themselves, but things that they say to other people, and it's I hope that's okay. Stop seeking external validation and reassurance.
I can do this myself. In every way, in every way, shape and form, even when my husband's vacuuming, and I can do it better, I can do it myself.
Get rid of that.
Sometimes true.
Now, what's one thing you do before high stake or maybe just even more intimidating conversations that'll make you more confident?
I shut down all digital. I don't look at any digital or phones, turn off. If possible, I'll go for a few minutes walk, so I calm down myself. If not, I'll go and drink some hot tea, like a hot water kind of thing. And if I'm at home, I play with my dog. Just to relax myself.
Emotional support.
Emotions is all calm. That way I'm walking into those meetings. Last one when I played with my dog, I was able to get $6 million money budget.
Always be across what your best case and worst case scenario outcome will be. Never be afraid to walk away from a situation where you're about to lose your self-respect, because if you keep that intact, then you've won.
Breathe and know what you bring to the table, and come in with that attitude and know why you're there.
A book, podcast, or person that has changed how you think.
A couple of months ago, I finished a book called Abundance, which is about how do we be a better society. So that's making me think differently now. So that doesn't mean I'm exactly doing the same, but think differently. Maybe I'll adopt to a different book when I adopt to it, and it continuously changes for me.
My mum, hands down, amazing dedicated, driven woman, and I strive to be more like her every day. So.
For me, it's the male leaders that I've had that have recognised the potential when I doubted myself the most, and that would really push me out of that comfort zone. Like, no, go out there, you can do this. And then I was like, really? I can do this? Yeah, you can. And then once I go out and do it, they said, what did we tell you? And so, yeah, it's the leaders that I've had and mentors.
Just as or even more important than having good female mentors as well as having males that back you. So I know you're all very successful women already, but what is something you'd do if you were just 10% more brave?
Not only brave, I have more time, more money, no family commitments, then I'll resign this job, move back to third world countries and start helping there.
10% braver, I would go back to study. I unfortunately tortured myself through my bachelor's degree by working full-time while studying full-time, and I never want to go back to that, but my hat goes off to anyone who has done that, so well done.
I think for me, if I was 10% brave, I'd probably be doing a lot more speaking events, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like that's been a personal goal in the last 2 years for me. It's not so much my profession, but it's a personal goal to get out there and do these speaking events. And I have done quite a number this year, so it's the putting your hand up. To, I'll do that. But if I did have more time, I'd definitely be donating my time in early education because I feel like that's very important, and also I'd probably be donating my time to retirement homes, I'll be honest, because I feel like there's a generation that we've forgotten about, so to speak, because everyone is chasing the next best thing in their life or their career.
What is a boundary you wish you had set sooner?
I think it's about saying no, because personally and professionally I've always been a yes person because of my empathetic nature. Because of that, yes, as I said, it's creating more problems than solving any issues, which is I've learned probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Now if I reflect back, if I would have done that long ago, maybe it would have been a little bit different, but nevertheless, at least I've learned that hard way about 4 or 5 years ago, and now I'm like, that's it. I know how to strategically say no without saying. I never use the word no. Without saying no, I can say no.
Many different ways to say no. Jess?
I think mine's quite similar. I think it's quite easy to fall into a caregiver mode and want to fill gaps. And so for me, the boundary is don't stay where you're not chosen or where you don't have clarity on what's required to be chosen. Going back to that story I shared at the beginning, people will use your time to their advantage, not consciously, but you have to think about if that situation's really growing you in the way that it needs to, or if it's actually taking from you.
For me, it's the unsolicited comments that I wish I set boundaries in a lot earlier, as being a female in technology, and knowing how to deal with them as well, and politely doing the pauses and what we discussed earlier.
The last two questions that we have, I think, are really, really important for all the females listening today. But what is one thing that you would like any women listening to remember when they doubt themselves?
Understand yourself, figure out what you really want and what drives you, because what you really want, sometimes you want something, but the driver is not that, it's not driving you. So you need to understand what drives you. It took a while for me to understand what drives me. I was like, okay, I'm an engineer, so next step for me is senior software engineer. Next step for me is, it's all about next step. I never thought about what I really like and what drives me, what I really want to do. When it became clear, for me, it was clear that purpose-driven work makes me happy.
If I can build onto that, and then once you have that, you take away the self-doubt.
Yeah.
And then that just flows very nicely.
Absolutely agree.
There is never any situation that you're in professionally or personally that doesn't have an exit if you are feeling uncomfortable. So trust your gut. If you're doubting the situation you're in, don't doubt yourself. There's plenty of people who will put their hand out to help you, and reach out to me if you feel like you can't talk to anyone else. I'm happy to help, but every situation has an out.
And if there's one thing to take away from today's chat, what is one small action that you would encourage someone to take this week to empower themselves?
Get out of your comfort zone. know why you're in that comfort zone to begin with, and what the blockers are to reaching next steps. And it doesn't have to be career. It can be personally, professionally, you know, whatever. But understand why you have that block, and take that next step and do it.
Block out 30 minutes in your calendar, go for an intentional walk and move your body. Voice chat with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever your poison of choice is at the same time, and work on what's the value I'm bringing, what's the value I'm adding, what are my strengths, etc. So you'll have moved your body and you've got your value proposition all in 30 minutes.
Believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
Thank you so much. That is it for today. I think we need a massive round of applause.